Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for the Future of Work series. My name is Ellis Talton, Senior Vice President here at Brick, joined with Bassem Hamdi, CEO and co-founder.
Hello, Ellis.
We're super excited about this series here over the next 8 weeks here. We're going to talk about the impact of future of work.
Right.
Seemingly a simple term. There's a lot buried within it. Before we dive into that, let's talk about a little bit about your background, Bassem.
Sure.
Been in the construction industry for space for a long time.
Yeah.
Tell us how you found yourself founding Brick.
So if you go all the way back to the beginning, I wish I could tell you that there was a plan, but I took the first tech job that I could grab, which was a construction accounting software company, which those three words put together, I thought I'd stay maybe a couple of weeks at that job until I found a real tech job. But fell in love with construction, honestly. It's a great industry with great people in it. You get to build things, which is very, very unique. You get to have parts of the world with your involvement. It's a great thing. You know, I talk about this all the time. I closed out the Seahawks Stadium for Turner Construction, and I get to walk down the streets right in front of the Seahawks Stadium in Seattle, and I can show my kid I had something to do with that, right? So that's why I fell in love with it. I was there actually with CMIC for a decade and a half. Construction ERP, we coined the term, got out there and got everybody to upgrade their accounting system. And then there was a new wave of digital transformation called cloud project management. Like, believe it or not, Wi-Fi only hit the job site kind of recently.
Yeah, totally.
So ended up moving to Santa Barbara, joined Procore. It was a very small company at the time. I was employee 120, and then we just blew it up. The speed of which construction ERP, it took us 15 years to get people to understand they needed a more modern construction accounting system. At Procore, it took us 24, 36 months. So what we did in 15 years, we did in 3 at Procore. And now what I realized after Procore, and I was kind of tired of making everybody else money, I decided to start my own company. And with my co-founder, Ron, went out with the thesis of there's a new wave of digital transformation coming. We call it Brick, but we'll get into it. And then that wave is, can you do what you did in 3 years at Procore that much faster? And we're actually on pace. We're looking great for a 5-year-old company, top of the market.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely. And, I think as we go through this series and we talk about the future of work, it's really it's the future of money. It's the future of people. It's the future of these businesses. And it's so important. In fact, we're spending 8 weeks covering this topic.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of words people say, like the future of work. Everybody, if you've been at a construction company and you've worked there for 28 years, there's a lot of longevity in construction.
Yeah.
You think this is probably BS, right? What is the future of work? There is a change coming, and it's not like a change that we're talking about 10 years from now, 5 years from now. That change is now.
Yes.
And the reality is that not only are, aging out of the industry, a lot of folks are retiring, getting out, a lot of less experience. But then on the other side of the coin is there's not enough people to fill the seats in construction companies today. So if you don't understand the future of work, and this is why it's so important, that's why Brick really, really is driving this, and this is why we're investing in this series, is to educate the industry. If you are not investing in the future of work today, a year from now, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. You are going to be challenged. And I think that's the most important concept here, is that ultimately the way we do business in construction is fundamentally changing, and we can no longer wait. This is fighting a current that you can't stop.
Yeah. So everyone, put yourself a year from now. Take yourself out of whatever you were in 2023.
Yeah, exactly.
Put yourself in 24, 25, 26. Think about how quickly things have evolved, even just in the last few years, right?
Yeah.
Well, especially with a lot of the technology that we've seen come out.
Yeah, 100%.
Put yourself in the future and really think about what your role, what your company, what the market, what your customers are going to look like. And this is what we're going to do in the next 8 weeks. So simply, let's start with, what is the future of work? How do you define the future of work?
So I'm going to give you a story about the birth of Brick. And it's probably not a story a lot of people know. But when we had this thesis at Brick, when we started the company, we saw that the money workflow was broken in construction. So you had estimating systems, you have accounting systems, you have project management systems, you have CRM systems, you have systems on top of systems on top of systems. 6, a dozen. Just think about how many computer apps or iPhone apps somebody's bought for construction. Ultimately, we realize that none of them talk to each other. The concept of these APIs and connectivity doesn't make any sense because ultimately, nothing to do with integration. There's nothing to do with integration. It's 2023. You can download a file, upload a file. This is not what this is about. What we realize is the money workflow is broken because it's a process problem. So how do you fix the process? So that was the challenge. How do you fix a process going from an estimator who speaks a different language, a fundamentally different language than a project manager or an accountant? They all speak different languages. Think of it. It's like the Tower of Babel. There's 3 different languages in just one of these vignettes, one of these processes. So now you think, okay, we can't rip out the tools that were built for the estimator. We can't rip out the tool that was built for the accountant. How would you even do that? Accountants need GAAP financials, and that tool is the accounting system. And estimators need estimating systems, and that tool is an estimating system. And a project manager needs to run a schedule and a project in the field, and they need project management and scheduling software. They all have the tool that's right for the job. What happens, though, is that the entire process is broken as soon as the baton has to be passed on. You know, I have this joke always that if construction was a relay team, it would be the worst relay team on the planet.
Yeah.
Every time we try to put the baton into somebody else's hands, we drop it. You know, we talk about collaboration with other stakeholders outside of your company. Let's start with the problem, which is interdepartmental collaboration. So we have this thesis. We want interdepartmental collaboration to fix the money workflow. This is 5 years ago. And we're like, how are we going to do that? You know, I'm not a developer. I'm a marketing sales guy. Ron's a finance guy. Like we had no technology background in regards to building anything. So I started doing research, and actually one of our first engineers we've ever hired, and he's still with us, came up with a solution to this problem. He said, there's this new burgeoning technology called automation software that can do the work on behalf of a human. I'm like, there's no way this is real.
Right.
And so in 2018, we built our first bot, which was a little computer program that operated on very, very basic instructions. This is, I'm talking like for anybody, this is like Atari 2600
Right.
Video games. This is like early days, taking these basic instructions and completing a task. The task was a very simple task. It was to go into an estimating system, download the estimate, use simple mapping that we gave it, and then upload it into an accounting system. And it was really janky, and it was slow and error prone. It was 2018, 5 years ago, but we did it with a success rate of 60, 70% of the time. We were downloading estimate, remapping it. So estimate codes, for everybody knows this, but estimate codes are at a different level than a budget code in job cost. So we mapped it based on basic intelligence and rules and put it in. There was no thought. The bot didn't think at all.
Right.
It just took exact instructions, but it worked.
Yeah.
This thing that we created in this couple week sprint could actually use a machine like a human used a machine.
Right.
It was crazy. You would watch this thing run, and I would be shocked every day. We demoed it to one of our first clients. We told him it was janky. We told him it was just a bot that took an estimate to a budget. And he looked at that. The CFO looked at that and said, well, I think you've just saved one hire this year.
Yeah.
Because that's literally how long it would take them, even at the 60% accuracy.
Right.
They're still a client to this day, but obviously the bots have gotten smarter. And the future of work, not to ruin the surprise, is 2 things. It's a machine doing the work on behalf of the human and a machine augmenting the work that you need to do. And those are like the key factors. The one thing I want everybody to remember is the reason why we've selected these workflows is because the money workflow is connected. No matter how many siloed departments are involved in a workflow.
Or how big you are.
Exactly. That's where it's all connected.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Now, the future of work is really understanding that how we set up budgets today, how we forecast at the project level, how we recognize revenue, how we manage spend and billings is going to fundamentally change.
Yes.
The roles will change.
Yep.
We're introducing now these basically bot employees.
Yep.
will change, all driven by this new technology. And we're going to talk about 100%. That technology. We're going to talk about those roles. We're going to talk about in this series those workflows that will be impacted.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So stay tuned for what we have coming out the next 8 weeks. We're super excited to delve more into this topic. We'll see you next week.
Awesome.